Pitch into Jones. Stepping up. Deep shot. It is Edison! Flips the field down to the 40 of Detroit.
And his impact so far on the Viking defense. Second down 9. Darnold getting messy, going deep, and he's got Jefferson. It's a foot race downfield with Brown. Shifting gears. Getting a block. That's 6. And here in the Twin Cities, look at the moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and slamming.
Another turnover for Utah. Edwards gets it back. And threw it down. And one.
Everybody, Inside the Zone with Mateo starts right now. Let's go! Another edition of Inside the Zone with Mateo. Week 11 of the NFL. Let's head over to Mateo's show. Batting orders presented by To Be Determined. If you would like to sponsor this segment, maybe even for free, let me know in the comments. Let me know when you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Maybe let me know. Hey, I want to sponsor. Put my name up on that slide if you want. I use it, the batting order, pretty much every single episode here on the podcast. But yeah, as we said, what did I learn last week from the NFL? That's the first thing on the batting order, as always, on these NFL episodes. And then I'll have my accountability for my game picks. I'll make my week 11 picks. And then your guys' favorite, my power rankings for week 11, which there's some shakeups. But first, let's talk about what the heck did I learn from week 10 of the NFL? Number one is, boom, these teams are making the playoffs. Here it is. So if you've been watching me for a while, and I'm hoping you have been, I've done this part for like what I learned. I've had one of the things always be like either the NFL is unpredictable or like these teams are making the playoffs. If you don't understand what's going on, go watch some other videos of my NFL episodes. You can maybe understand that better. But basically, we got 3 columns here. The almost 100% that anybody in that tier is basically almost certain to make the playoffs, at least what I think. Pretty close to 100% is like you could be removed the week after I put you in there, or you could be like an almost 100% next week. That's kind of what I've been doing, and a couple teams have been eliminated from that tier, which has been very interesting. So go ahead and check those videos out, but I also will talk about that in a second. And then still need is basically what I still haven't been able to decide who's going to make the playoffs, what spots are open. And as you can see, there are 2 wildcard spots in the AFC Open. Still the AFC North winner because it's either going to be the Steelers or the Ravens. And hey, there's rumors Joe Burrow's going to come back, so maybe even the Bengals could try to sleep in. I don't think so, but maybe there's a hypothetical situation that could happen. But for the NFC right now, these teams have all stayed in almost 100% for the last couple of weeks. The Eagles, the Buccaneers, the Lions, and the Seahawks. So those are all division winners. And then you got the Rams. So basically, I think I always say this, but either the Seahawks or the Rams is going to win that division, and the other team is going to be a wildcard spot. So there is a wildcard spot filled up. Then we've normally had the Packers at pretty close to 100% or even almost 100%. They've been falling rapidly. I eliminated them from that conversation after that embarrassing performance on Monday Night Football. So that remains. That gives 1 wildcard spot open. And think about it. We also normally have the 49ers. The 49ers get removed from this slide as well. And the Bears make their first ever appearance on this slide. So we got 1 wildcard spot in the AFC Open that I just don't know who's going to fill that. And right now, I feel like the Bears are going to be making the playoffs. Caleb Williams looks good. Obviously, things could happen. I don't fully trust the Bears. And they play my Minnesota Vikings, who, the Vikings aren't that good. But we already beat them once, so who says we can't beat them? Again, we're 2-0 against NFC North opponents. If we go 3-0, that's actually insane. And then in the AFC, obviously the Colts, the Patriots, the Broncos, those are gimmies. I still have the Chiefs at pretty close to 100%. I just have a feeling they're going to end up slipping into the playoffs. But then, Bills are gone. Jaguars are gone. I had them all in the slides of previous weeks. But no, they're gone. The AFC is tighter besides those top 3 teams in the Colts, Patriots, and Broncos. Everybody else, I'm basically a Chargers hater. I just don't like the Chargers. I don't think they're that good. Same with the Bills. I just don't think they're that good. We've seen like their quarterbacks are good. I just don't think the teams they built around those quarterbacks are worth going anywhere. And Patrick Mahomes just has something to say about those teams. He basically owns those two teams, the Bills and the Chargers. And I just think even though they're 5-4, the Chiefs coming off a bye, they're going to go crazy. I think. I mean, this week I don't even know who they're playing. Who I should have probably researched that. Who the Chiefs are playing? I haven't even pulled up the schedule. Actually, yeah, because what I try to do is I try to keep the schedule. Like I know who the Vikings are playing and stuff, but I don't want to know who they're all playing. So it's like generally when I make my predictions, like generally my first thoughts of the game. But the Chiefs are playing the Broncos. That's right. I forgot about that. I did know that. I did know that because I believe I have RJ Harvey in one of my fantasy leagues. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. But anyway, I feel like that's a huge game for the Chiefs. I feel like if the Chiefs go to 500, they might have to be taken out of this slide. But anyway, I'm just kind of rambling here, I guess. I don't know. This is kind of what a podcast is, though. People rambling and rambling and rambling. And if you enjoy this, could you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button? It just really helps the channel grow. We keep hitting like huge view counts, and just nobody seems to subscribe. And I'm like, bro, it's one button. I don't care if you never watch me again. Just subscribe for the heck of it, bro. It's fun. It's fun. Just hit that subscribe button. And like the video, comment if you made it this far already. You've watched like 5, 6, 7 minutes, and like, hey, like give me your thoughts of the things I learned this week. What did you learn from this week? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of what my thoughts are on the playoffs. And then the team still needed. There's a wild card spot, and then a couple wild card spots in the AFC. But here I'm gonna pull up these. Standings here for you guys. So right now, if the playoffs started today, obviously the Colts, Broncos, Patriots would all be in. The Steelers would be the division winners. The Ravens, though, are like 2 games back of that division. And, they're not even far off from a wild card spot. So both of those teams could end up making it. And it could be like Steelers. Imagine a Steelers-Ravens first-round matchup. That would be crazy. But yeah, I know the Chargers are 7-3. I feel like they might end up making the playoffs. Now, I just don't trust them as much, but they could definitely prove me wrong. They're 6-1 against their conference, 3-0 against their division. Yeah, I guess they are good. Maybe I should put them on that slide. But the Jaguars still in a playoff spot. They're ahead of the Chiefs because they beat the Chiefs. That game is huge. Texans are kind of coming back. I think the Bengals are too far out, but I feel like any of these teams besides the Dolphins, Jets, Raiders, Browns, Titans, those guys, I don't think are going to make the playoffs, but like any of these other teams could make the playoffs. Because the Broncos have an insane offense, I feel like they could end up like winning out the rest of their games because their schedule is not the hardest. Texans, their defense is good. I think just because CJ Stroud is hurt, it hasn't looked the same since his rookie season. I just don't think they're going to be able to slip in, but I think it's going to be probably the Bills will probably end up making it, but if they had another performance like they lost to the Dolphins, and I'm saying like that just tells you something, and that proves my point of what I've been saying about the Bills. I just don't trust them, and you know what happens to them when they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. They can't close out. There's something wrong. I don't know. They need Josh Allen. I feel like you got to release James Cook and like maybe even trade him and get a wide receiver. Josh Allen is too valuable to not have a wide receiver. The best wide receiver you have is like Keon Coleman, Khalil Shakir. You need better target weapons, for Josh Allen, and that's kind of why the Bills, I don't think, have been as good as everybody has wanted them to be. Same with the Ravens. They don't really have as many receivers, too. I know they have Derrick Henry, but I think Derrick Henry might be washed, and I might be thinking there might be a trade coming up in the offseason, Derrick Henry, or they might just not even flat out re-sign him when his contract comes up. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what both those teams do down the stretch. Then we go into the NFC playoff picture. Yeah, the Eagles, the Seahawks, the Lions, the Buccaneers, those top 4 teams, basically all locks. So are the LA Rams. Those top 5 teams are locks. And then I see, look, you got the Bears. The Bears are even ahead of the Green Bay Packers and the Niners. That's why I said, yeah. I think the Bears the Bears are probably going to lose this week against the Vikings. I'm going to say the Vikings, even if they're not good, they're going to be back at 500. And, then they're playing the Packers in the previous week. We're going to dive into that in one of the other things I learned this week. But, when you look at it, it's just kind of a crazy playoff picture. And I do like it, though. Like, I like it. I don't like it when you just know all the teams. Like the previous years, you've known, like, the Chiefs are going to make it, the Ravens are going to make it, the Bills are going to make it, the Eagles are going to make it, the Lions are going to make it. The Rams are going to make it. It's like the same old teams, but now we get the Colts, the Broncos, the Patriots all coming back in the league. I mean, the Bears are back into playoff contention. The Packers are kind of a legit, playoff team. You never know what might happen. I just like it a lot. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the playoff pictures so far if the season ended today. But yeah, we're back over here. And the second thing I learned this week, I didn't do the big boom reveal, but whatever, is Jonathan Taylor is the MVP. That will never, ever, ever win. Man, Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, 26 years old. November 9th against the Atlanta Falcons in Germany. He rushed 32 times, 244 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns on the ground. He also caught 3 passes. He is so good. And he's rushed for over 1,000 yards this year. He has 15 touchdowns on the ground, 13 catches. And I'm just telling you guys, he is, I've talked about the Colts just being disrespected. The MVP odds are even disrespecting him. They have Mahomes ahead of him. Here, okay, he's actually he got better. The odds got a little better for him. Here they are. Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, Jonathan Taylor. He's now finally 4th. Thank you. But my goodness. A week ago, or a couple weeks ago, he was just not getting any votes. He was behind Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff. He was behind all of those guys. We all know the MVP award is a quarterback award. It's kind of annoying, but I think there's no guy more deserving than Jonathan Taylor. And then think about it. Daniel Jones. He's not even in these, conversations. And Daniel Jones, I think, is having a heck of a good season. He should be ahead of Puka. He should be ahead of Bo Nix. He should be ahead of CMC, who's having a great season, just not for MVP. I know he's probably going to win comeback player. He's probably favored for comeback, right? No, he's not. I'm telling you, why do they disrespect the Colts so much? Why, bro? At least their coach is getting some loves, but Mike Vrabel, bro, they're just not getting any love. And I feel like you have got to respect these Colts more. I don't care if you don't think they're going to do well. I don't think if you care, I don't care if you think that Daniel Jones is not a good enough quarterback to bring them to a Super Bowl. You watch, you see Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones go crazy. They're going to be in the playoffs whether you like it or not. They're 8-2. And I just hate the people that say, oh, Daniel Jones isn't trustworthy. Heck, you guys think Sam Darnold's trustworthy. I saw what happened to him last year in the games that counted, and that's what I want to see this week against the Rams. You got an afternoon game basically for the division if those teams keep winning. It's a high-intensity game, so much pressure. I kid you not, the Rams are going to embarrass. They're going to embarrass the Seattle Seahawks because Sam Darnold I kid you not, is going to throw 2 interceptions. Write that down. Sam Darnold's throwing 2 interceptions this week against the LA Rams. I don't care. That's just kind of me yelling at this computer because I feel like yelling because people are disrespecting the Colts so much. I'm not even a Colts fan. I'm just you don't give Mahomes another MVP when Daniel Jones is performing this well on his team. Okay. Third thing I learned this week from the NFL, week 10 of the NFL, is this. That the NFC North is still the toughest division in the NFL. So now people, I was even thinking about it. Okay, the AFC West is pretty competitive. The NFC West is pretty competitive. Going into the season, we all thought the AFC North was going to be competitive. And we thought the NFC North was going to be competitive, and it has been over the last couple of years. But then all the teams were kind of mid, but now they're all within 1 or 2 games of each other, and any of them could win the division. And yes, my Minnesota Vikings could win the division, which is absolutely wild to think about because they have been so well. They've been doing so well against their division. They are 2-0 against their division. They beat the Lions and they beat the Bears. And hold on. Hold on. Both of those games were both away games. They haven't even played a home division game this week. The home divisional game is coming this Sunday against the Chicago Bears. If the Minnesota Vikings win, they go to 5-5. The Chicago Bears go to 6-3, 6-4. Then you beat the Packers the following week. You're 6-5. That could easily be for second place in your division behind the Lions, who you already beat in Detroit. Who Detroit does not have. I mean, Detroit. Their schedule is interesting. They play the Eagles on Sunday Night Football this week. Then they play the Giants. They play the Packers, who already, beat them once. Then they play the Cowboys, the Rams, the Steelers, the Vikings, and the Bears. It's not a gimme schedule. There's a couple games. Like, you'll probably beat the Bears. You'll probably beat the Giants. But, you could lose against the Packers. You could lose against the Eagles. You could lose against the Cowboys. You could lose against the Rams. You could lose against the Steelers if the Steelers show up. You could lose against the Vikings. That's a Christmas Day game in Minnesota. You never know, what might happen with the Lions. Same thing with the Packers. The Packers schedule. They play the Giants. Okay, they'll probably win this week against the Giants, but then they play the Vikings, they play the Lions, they play the Bears, they play the Broncos, they play the Bears again. They play the Ravens, who could be fighting for a playoff spot at that time. And then they close the season out in US Bank Stadium playing your Minnesota Vikings, which that game could be for the division. Now, here's the thing. The Bears probably have the easiest schedule of them all. They play the Vikings, then they play the Steelers, then the Eagles, the Packers, the Browns, Packers, 49ers, and Lions. Actually, that's a pretty tough schedule as well. The Minnesota Vikings schedule, the remaining, you have the Bears. You got out of your tough spot. You got a pretty easy schedule the rest of the way, I'm telling you. You play the Bears. I think you're going to win. Packers. Who says you don't win? If they played like they played Monday Night Football, you're going to beat them. Seahawks. Probably lose that one. So 2-1. Commanders, you win that one. You go 3-1. Now, I do think the Vikings could also go 1-4 in these next 5 games because then you play the Cowboys. I'll give you a loss there just to even out. I think you're going to either lose to the Packers or Cowboys. I just don't know which one you're going to lose to. So there. You're 3-2. No, 2-3. 2-3. Then you play the Giants. You probably should win that game. Then you play the Lions and the Packers again. You'll split that. You go 4-4. Say you go 4-4. I know that's maybe 8-8, 8-9. Could you steal more division games? I don't know. And I don't have high hopes for the Minnesota Vikings. But I'm just saying this is the case you could make for any of these NFC North teams. So therefore, the thing I learned from Week 10 of the NFL is that the NFC North is still the toughest division to play in if you're a team in the NFL. And the fact that the Minnesota Vikings had gone into 2 division rival stadiums and won both says something. Could you go into all 3 and win both? We'll see in 2 weeks' time. The fourth thing I learned from Week 10 of the NFL is this. Boom! We are back in the 2010s. You've all been waiting for this. This is probably why you clicked on the episode. You saw the thumbnail. And you said, why is he saying we're back in the 2010s, boys? Well, I'm bringing the thumbnail back, okay? This is probably what made you click on the episode. There's a lot of people going on, and maybe you either think it's a poorly designed thumbnail or it's a really good thumbnail. Peyton Manning, Daniel Jones, both on the Colts. Peyton Manning and Bo Nix, both on the Broncos. Tom Brady, Drake May, both on the Patriots. Jackson Dart, Eli Manning, both on the Giants. Each of one of those legends, Peyton, Eli, Tom, all all 3 of them played into the 2010s. Even early 2000s. All 3 of those teams were good. Won Super Bowls. All 4 of those teams have quarterbacks playing at a high level. I'm not saying the Giants aren't going to do anything. They're one of the worst teams in the league. But I'm saying you have flashes of what could be in 2027, 2026, 2027 season. Drake May playing like an MVP quarterback. Bo Nix playing very good. Daniel Jones playing good. I just feel like I'm just getting these vibes Like we're kind of back in the 2010s, and we're going to see all these teams in the playoffs minus the Giants until next year. We're just getting 2010 vibes. You know what I mean? Let me know if you think this is valid in the comments down below. I learned from week 10 of the NFL is this. The Giants are going to be scary in 2027. I give them an extra year, so not just 2026, but 2027, because if you already noticed, they're 2-8. Not the playoff standing. What am I doing? I need the league. They right now are in line for the second overall pick. I do think the Titans could probably steal one more game. I don't know if the Giants could win another game. Anyway, I think you're going to end up with a top 2 pick if you're the Giants. You have Cam Scatterbo. You have Malik Neighbors. You have Jackson Dart. This team is going to be scary in 2027. All these young guys, if they play like they've been playing, holy cow. Abdul Carter is still developing. They got Sexy Dexy. They've got Dexter Lawrence. The New York Giants are going to be scary in 2027. So those are the 10 things not 10 things, the 5 things I learned from week 10 of the NFL. As a review, these teams, I told you which teams I think are going to make the playoffs, which teams are still kind of on the bubble. I said Jonathan Taylor is the MVP of the league that will never win the award. I also told you that the NFC North is still tight, and it's still the toughest division in the game of football. I said I think we're back to kind of like the 2010 era of Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Tom Brady. And I also said the Giants are going to be very scary in 2027. So with those things in mind, it's time to go over to NFLPerry.com to take a quick peek at our accountabilities from week 10. All right, it's going to be my week 11 picks and a recap of how well I did last week, as you can see on your screen. If you're watching on YouTube, 9-5 I went 9-5 this week. The teams on the bye week last week were the Bengals, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Titans. Our overall record is now 84-64, 20 whole games over 500. We're 84 for 148. That's a 57% completion percentage on our picks. We're pretty accurate, almost to 60%. We got 15 games to predict this week. The teams on bye are the Colts and the Saints. There's only two games. Only 2 teams on bye. So we got 15 games instead of 16. If a normal slate of games would be 16. And so, yes, it is time to predict the unpredictable. NFLPerry.com. Boom. Here we go. Oh, if you want a quick reminder of how well I did last week, these are the guys I picked last week. So you could stop the video if you want to, take a peek of who I picked, who I got wrong, who I got right. But yeah, week 11 has 15 games on, as I said. And so we got a Thursday night football game against the Jets and the Patriots. We got an international game against the Commanders and the Dolphins. Then Sunday early slate has the Panthers and the Falcons, the Buccaneers and the Bills, the Texans and the Titans, the Bears and the Vikings, the Packers and the Giants, the Bengals and the Steelers, and the Chargers and the Jaguars. Sunday late slate has some good AFC West games. We got the Seahawks and the Rams. We got the 49ers and the Cardinals. And then we got another division opponent. All division opponents on the Sunday late slate, because we got the Ravens and the Browns. And then we got the Chiefs and the Broncos. Sunday night football. Ooh, that's going to be a good game. Could that be a NFC Championship Series game? Maybe. It's the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. And then Monday Night Football, man, that's bad. The Raiders and the Cowboys. The Raiders have been on national TV. Thursday Night Football last week, Monday Night Football this week. Man, they really want the Raiders to be on national TV. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, TV stations, your ratings are going to be ugh. Let's start with the Thursday Night Football game. The New York Giants and the New England Patriots. Give me Drake May to win that one pretty easily. And then no JD5, no Terry Scary. The Dolphins just beat the Bills. Give me Tua and the Bills. And Tua and the Dolphins, excuse me. We got the Panthers and the Falcons. The Panthers season's over. Give me the Falcons in this one. Drake London is him. Bijan Robinson is playing good. Michael Penix Jr., hey, we'll maybe see what happens there. This is an interesting game. We got the Buccaneers and the Bills. Both of these teams I don't trust as much as I did at the start of the season. Emeka Egbuka, Baker Mayfield, or Josh Allen and James Cook. Give me Josh Allen and James Cook, to win that game. I think that's a must-win game. Actually, heck no. I'm switching it. I'm picking Baker Mayfield. They haven't won a game in quite some time. They need a win. They got embarrassed against Drake May last week. I think they're going to win, actually, going to Buffalo. Unless there's snow on the ground, then, there might be snow, and then the Florida team never know how to play in the snow. We saw that a couple years ago when the Miami Dolphins played the Kansas City Chiefs in a playoff game. Yeah, we did know that. We got the Texans and the Titans. Give me the Texans, even if it's Davis Mills starting. Give me the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy over Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears. Give me the Packers over the injured, and it's just injured. New York Giants. Jackson Dart is not even starting. He's in concussion protocol for like the fifth time already in his young career. Jameson Winston is the starting quarterback now for the Giants. Russell Wilson isn't even being able to start. Joe Flacco will get another win against the Steelers. We know what happened in Cincinnati when they played each other. That was like Burrow's first game. I think we're going to see some more of the same, and then Joe Burrow might be coming back next week. So, hey, maybe the Bengals can make a late push into the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. Yeah, I might have to have the Chargers being one of my almost 100% teams to make the playoffs after this week because they're playing the Jaguars. Give me the Chargers in that one. And, hey, if the Jaguars win that game, they might be at almost 100% to make the playoffs. They'd be 6-4 after that win. Interesting. I already said I think Sam Darnold's going to have a bad game against the Rams. I think it's going to be a blowout. The Rams are going to win like 35-14 or something like that. I don't care. I'm mostly joking. I just want Sam Darnold to have a bad game. Give me the Rams. Then give me the 49ers. No matter how injured they are, they're going to beat Jacoby Brissett and Trey McBride. Give me Lamar Jackson to beat the Browns. And then we got, this is, hold on, let me do the Monday Night Football game because that's pretty easy. Give me the Cowboys over the Raiders. Give me, I think we'll go Eagles over the Lions this week, mostly because it's in Philadelphia, and I think Philly just likes to win at home. And they're a good team. People are like saying like, oh, you only put up 10 points against the Packers. Yeah, I just don't think anybody was playing good that day. I think we're going to see a different team, and I think Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are going to do some pretty good stuff there. And then finally, I think it's America's game of the week is the Chiefs and the Broncos. Give me Bo Nix to upset. I think it's an upset. I don't know. They're 8-2. I think they're going to be 9-2 at the end of the week. Give me the Broncos to win. I will submit those picks. And there you go. There are my Week 11 picks for the NFL. Indeed. That was time to predict the unpredictable. Those were my picks. I'll let you know how well I do in the next episode, in my Week 12 NFL episode. Dude, we're getting to Week 12, Week 13, Week 14. Dude, imagine this, bro. Playoffs are going to be around the corner just in a couple months, dude. This is absolutely crazy. We're midway through November already. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, you know what's up next. You know what's up next. You love this, guys. I love you guys for watching this. And thank you guys all for watching so far through this video. If you have made it so far already, comment down below power rankings. And, let me know your power rankings down below in the comments section. I'd appreciate it. And if you haven't already. If you haven't already, excuse me, I don't know why I was like blabbering. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry, excuse me. I got to lock in. If you haven't already, would you hit that like button? Would you hit that subscribe button? Turn the notification bell button on so you never ever miss an episode or a short. I'm trying to get those subscribers up to like 100. Maybe we can do 100 by the Super Bowl. Let's do 100 subscribers by the Super Bowl. That's our new goal. I don't even know if that's going to be possible. But we'll see. Maybe you guys, if you subscribe, maybe that can happen. Let's go. But yeah, let's do. Man, I'm kind of tired today. Sorry, guys. Let's go to our power rankings so I can actually stop, just blabbering. Just stop blabbering. I need to lock in. I don't know what the heck is going on. But there are my power rankings from week 10. So that was last week, and as normal, I will put up my week 10 power rankings so you can kind of compare and contrast. I just want to make sure I got the right ones. The Dolphins and the Saints. Dolphins and the Saints actually won games this week. So I said, here, let's reward them and move them up a little bit so they're not like the worst teams in the league, but like they're a little better. They're like the best of the worst, if that makes sense. You guys, we've been doing this. We've been filming for a while. I hope you guys are okay, but let's just get into the power rankings. What am I doing? All right, let's start talking about the Cincinnati Bengals, who were mediocre at best last week. And I'm going to have them stay there for now. If they get a win this week against the Steelers, they might be moving up next week. We will see. Next team are the Giants, and the Giants are going to stay at young but intriguing. Now, I could put them at number 1 pick contention because they are for sure at number 1 pick contention. But the problem is, they're very young and intriguing, and I do think they're going to be scary. So that they're one of the few teams that fits that criteria. The other team that fits that criteria, I keep losing, is the Panthers. Why are we not switching there? Panthers are better than the Giants, though, so they would get to go ahead of them. But yeah, they're very young and intriguing, especially with Rico Dowdle, Bryce Young. I don't know what they're going to do with Bryce, but they also got Ted McMillan. They're very young but intriguing, and those are, again, the only teams that really fit that criteria, that tier. And so, yeah, those bottom tiers are basically done now. We'll spend more time talking a little bit about these next teams. Let's start with the 49ers. The 49ers lost the game, and I think they're going to be a potential wildcard team. I think, along, as I kind of said in the other segment, of like what I learned, I think they could slip in. And, same thing. We're dropping the Packers all the way down to a potential wildcard team. I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. They're 5-3-1. It's an awful looking record. I just don't trust that team. Tucker Kraft's injured. Micah Parsons not doing really much. They're another potential wildcard team, and that is crazy because they've been in like a top 10 spot forever, and they've been just slowly dropping, which I just think is absolutely crazy. The Minnesota Vikings, I think are just gonna miss the playoffs. They might, as I said, like go 7-10, 8-9 area, and I feel like that fits the just missing the playoffs. But hey, you never know what might happen. Stranger things have happened to the Minnesota Vikings. JJ McCarthy maybe gets benched and Max Brosmer becomes the starting quarterback of the future. I doubt it because Kevin O'Connell doesn't like to make changes. And that's all I'm going to say about my Minnesota Vikings. We got the Baltimore Ravens coming up next. The Baltimore Ravens, I think, have a very good shot at slipping in, so we're going to have them be a potential wildcard team. Just behind those other two teams that I talked about already, the 49ers and the Packers. We got the Denver Broncos up next. They were a Super Bowl contender last week. They're going to stay a Super Bowl contender this week. They are a top team in the NFL right now. I like them a lot. You know who's also another top team? The LA Rams. They are going to be one of my Super Bowl favorites now. They move up a tier. They were in Super Bowl contenders. They are now a Super Bowl favorite, in my opinion. And, a team that was with them in that same tier, the Super Bowl contenders, were the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are going to drop. They lose to the Patriots, who I think could win it all. Spoiler alert, yeah, they're going to drop down to a playoff team because they're going to win the division because their division absolutely sucks. But, I don't know if they could win the Super Bowl, if that kind of makes sense, and I hope it does. And yeah, a team that I do think is like kind of the same level or maybe a little better are the Detroit Lions. We'll put them ahead of them. We'll keep them in a playoff team. That is where they were. Yeah, that's where they were last week as well. Chicago Bears, not just a potential wildcard team this week. They are going to be in the playoff team tier list. I think, as I said, they are almost certified. You're almost certainty. Oh my goodness. I think they are almost certain to be a playoff team this week. This year, and so depending on what they do this week, I think that has a lot of factor into it. Playing the Minnesota Vikings, if they can't be the Vikings even once this year, that might be a little concerning, and I might have to drop them to a potential wildcard team. The Eagles, though, are probably still the best team in the league. People keep saying, "Oh, they're not that good." I don't care if they only score 10 points; they're still 7-2. give me the Eagles. I just think since they won it all last year, they know how to win. I trust them a lot. The Eagles are my number one team in the NFL right now. I'm sorry, Commanders. I'm sorry. You're mediocre at best just because you're... I feel so bad for them. Like, their team has just been injured so much. They make all these moves to win now with Jaden Daniels, and then they just all get hurt. It's so unfortunate for the Commanders. And so, yeah, they're going to be kind of, they kind of fit the story of the Bengals as well. A team that doesn't really fit the Bengals, but I think are a little better than the Bengals just because Jacoby Brissett's actually kind of playing good, are the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have a bright future ahead of them. Kind of. I don't really know. I just don't really know what to do with the Cardinals, and I believe it was revealed Marvin Harrison will be undergoing surgery, so he might even be done for this season. Kyler Murray hasn't played in ages. Trey McBride's kind of like the only yay of that team, and James Conner I do think is coming back this week, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, again, a mediocre at best team in the NFL with the Cardinals. Just because they're in the lead for their division makes them be a playoff team, but they're definitely not one of the strongest ones. The Steelers just slide in to a playoff team just because they're in the lead of their division. A team that I don't really want to put at playoff team, but I think I will end up putting them, is the Buffalo Bills. I don't trust the Bills much. I'll put them in between the Bears and the Steelers just because that's kind of, those are the teams they're kind of around. They're not with the they're not with the Lions or the Bucks. They're kind of with the Bears and the Steelers. A lot of teams that we don't know if we should be able to trust or not. But I trust Josh Allen a little bit more than I trust Aaron Rodgers. Caleb Williams is looking to be an interesting quarterback too as well. So we'll see what happens this week against whoever they play. They play the Eagles. No, they don't play the Eagles. Who do they play this week? The Buccaneers. Yeah, that's a huge game. That's a huge game for both of those two teams, and I think that game will have a lot of weight on their place in my power rankings next week. We got the Falcons up next, and again, they're going to kind of be mediocre at best. They're with all these teams. I'm going to put the Bengals ahead of them just because I think the Bengals could end up making the playoffs if they go on a huge win streak and if Joe Burrow comes back. But yeah, I think the Falcons could be good if they find a good quarterback. I just don't think Penix is that guy. Cousins is certainly not that guy. They have the weapons. They have Bijan. They have Drake London. I just think they need a better quarterback than who they have right now, and that's where I'm going to put the Atlanta Falcons. The Jaguars are kind of similar. I just don't think Trevor Lawrence is that guy for them, but they're a potential wildcard team because they are in a playoff spot right now. And, yeah, that's just kind of surprising. They're just really quiet, but yet in a playoff spot just because they beat the Chiefs. That is absolutely insane. And so, they also have a lot of respect for me because they beat the Chiefs. I like anybody who can beat the Chiefs, even if it's the Packers or the Lions or whatever, any of my division rivals. I don't care. If you beat the Chiefs, bravo to you. I'll give you all the credit because I love it when the Chiefs lose. I just don't like it when the Chiefs win because they're kind of annoying. Just kind of annoying. A team I want them to win. Next team, I do want them to win a lot, and just because I want to prove all the haters wrong. The Colts are still my second best team. I don't care. I don't care if you narrowly beat the Falcons in Germany, whatever. Jonathan Taylor's him. Daniel Jones is very good. You have a bye week now. You get to finish all the things you need to finish. Get some extra practice in, figure out what you're going to do to make to be a legit Super Bowl contender, and I think you are a Super Bowl favorite in my opinion. I don't know why people keep saying you aren't. I think you are, and that's all that matters for my power rankings. If I think you are a Super Bowl favorite, you're a Super Bowl favorite, and that's what you're going to be. Another Super Bowl favorite, though, has to be another former Minnesota Viking quarterback, Sam Darnold. I'm going to put you behind the team you're playing this week because now you're playing the Rams. It's a huge game. I'm telling you, I'm not even going to put you as a Super Bowl favorite. I'm going to drop you from last week. I believe I had you as a Super Bowl contender. Yeah, I had you as a Super Bowl favorite last week. I'm going to put you as a contender just because I don't fully trust Sam Darnold, and I think they're going to lose. If they lose against the Rams, I think they'll be like a top 7 team instead of a top 5, top 4, top 3 team, okay? A lot riding on this game. I don't fully trust Sam Darnold just because of what happened last year with the Minnesota Vikings, who I think he had a better team with the Vikings than he does right now with the Seahawks. I just don't know how we lost that bad in the last couple of games of the season. A team, though, that is a Super Bowl favorite will be the one, the only New England Patriots, who are going to be a top 3 team. I know it's a shocker. So my top 5 teams, right? I can tell you for a fact that none of these other teams will be in my top 5. My top 5 teams are going to be the Eagles, Colts, Patriots, Rams, and Seahawks. And then at 6 are the Broncos, just because I have a reason for this. Most of their team only comes up in the fourth quarter, which I don't know if that can win you a playoff game, but you are still a legit Super Bowl contender because you are 8-2. My word. Kansas City Chiefs are up next. They're playing the Broncos this week. I think you are a playoff team. I just have a feeling you're going to win you're going to make the playoffs somehow. That's just always how the Chiefs seem to just make it. They always just seem to make it, you know? They always beat the Bills, so I'm just going to put them ahead of the Buffalo Bills this week. Even though the Bills beat them like last week. I don't know. It's okay. We got 3 teams left, including the Los Angeles Chargers, who I do think I had to give them some love, and I'm going to put them right in front of the Bears. Now, after looking at their record mid-episode, right, looking at their conference record, looking at their division record, I just got to give them some love. You're going to be closer to the top 5 than some of these other teams, but I think you're like a top 9 team right now, which means, hey, you know, you could fall out of the top 10 pretty easily, but you could also rise quickly. And, you know, they're playing the Jaguars. If they win, which I'm guessing they will be, they'll be like, they're 7-3 now, so like 8-3 or something like crazy like that. That would be crazy. And I'll start after thinking, do I put them a little higher? But for now, I don't fully trust that team. So yeah, they're going to be still top 10 team, but, you know, they're kind of like the Bills. Like, I could put them anywhere and I would still be questioning them because I don't fully trust them for some reason. There's just something that I don't trust them. But hey, that could for sure change. You know, they're making a huge jump from potential wild cards last week to now they're a playoff team. I do think they could probably make the playoffs. I'm kind of having regrets of making that slide. The first thing I learned this week of not putting them into a playoff spot. But hey, now you hear that for now. You hear that. Yeah. We got 2 teams left, and it's both Texas teams, and I think they're both going to be with the Minnesota Vikings. The Texans and the Cowboys are both going to just miss the playoffs. I think their records are good enough that they have a shot. The Dallas Cowboys are 3-5-1, and the Houston Texans are 4-5. I just think the competition level is that they're some of the weaker teams in the playoff picture that I just don't think they're going to have enough to do what it takes. But again, I think they're going to just narrowly miss the playoffs, but so they fit perfectly in the just missing the playoffs category with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to put the Minnesota Vikings ahead because why not? And those are my Week 11 power rankings. I'll read them 1 through 32. My best team in the league at number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2 are the Colts. Number 3 are the Patriots. Number 4 are the Rams. Number 5 are the Seahawks. Number 6 are the Broncos. Number 7 are the Lions. Number 8 are the Buccaneers. Number 9, as I said, are the Chargers. And then rounding out my top 10 are the Bears. Number 11 are the Chiefs. Number 12 are the Bills. Number 13, I think they were 13 last week as well, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 14, Packers. 15, 49ers. 16, Jaguars. 17, Ravens. 18 for Justin Jefferson, I guess, the Minnesota Vikings. 19 are the Texans. And 20 are the Dallas Cowboys. 21 are the Cardinals. 22 are the Bengals. 23 are the Falcons. 24 are the Commanders. 25 are, the Panthers. 26 Giants. And then, as normal, they jump up a little bit. 27 are the Dolphins. 28, just because they won, they'll probably be back down next week. But, they're on a bye week this week. Interesting. 28 are the Saints. 29, Browns. 30 are the Raiders. 31 are the Titans. And 32, the worst team in the league, according to my power rankings for Week 11 of the NFL, are the New York Football Jets. The Jets, Jets are my worst team in football. Let me know what you guys think of that. Did I cook? Is this a good power rankings or is it a bad power rankings? Let me know in the comments down below. And, let me know what else you want me to do on this podcast channel. Do you want me to do more NFL things? Do you want me to have more debates with ChatGPT like I did with proving Shohei Ohtani is the GOAT? Would you like me to have actual guests on the show? Let me know in the comments down below. And, I'll take any video ideas, whether it's gaming video ideas, shorts ideas, podcast video ideas, or just like short, quick edition episodes, like 10-minute episodes. Why not suggest it? Because, I wanted to give you guys what you want, and if you're subscribed, I want to give you what you want because you're the one subscribed. You're helping grow this channel, so I want to give you what you want. So yeah, again, if you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, follow me on X and Spotify. I try to post as much as I can on those platforms. But yeah, coming up next in the next couple of weeks or the next week or so, I'll have my Week 12 NFL Power Rankings NFL episode show. I'll have episodes as needed if there's any breaking news or, maybe live reactions and stuff. Just keep checking the channel, and I will I'll probably post if I do any special episodes. I'll post in YouTube or X if I do any other episodes. I try to do almost daily shorts. I haven't been able to do as many shorts this week, but I try to do almost daily shorts. And then obviously this weekend I will have more of my 2K25 rebounds. I took a break this week just because I kept trying to record them and they just weren't working. NBA 2K was kind of crashing. It was kind of weird. I think I got that sorted out. So I will probably be rebuilding other NBA teams to start the season as normal as we've been doing for the last couple weeks. And then also Sunday, my next Kingdom Competitors episode. If you haven't already watched the first one on Brock Purdy, go ahead and check that one out. That should be right here, It should pop up right as I'm ending this episode. But yeah, suggest any video ideas. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first because he's the most important thing in your lives. This is Mateo saying peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next video.